Welcome to episode 1 of Brian's Blunders. Brian's Blunders is basically, I look back at the past 40 years of my career, and through that time I made mistakes, things that impacted my career, my relationship with others, my relationship with customers, um, or impacted the business I was working in. And so the first one here I call patent theft. So back in the mid 2000s, I was working with a fairly large oil and gas company down in Houston, and I used to visit them every 4, 5, 6 weeks. And it was going good. Some sales, nothing huge by any stretch of the imagination. And towards the late 2000s, I went down there with a sales guy, and we went through the business we were working on, the various projects that we'd been talking about. And at the end, I asked a question, which I try to always remember to ask, is what problems are you having that you're having trouble solving? You know, what's out there that maybe we can help you with? And they said, hey, yeah, we actually do have something. And they were looking for a wire that was going to go into a cable. And they wanted the wire to have very high strength and very high corrosion resistance. And that combination didn't really exist then. It might now. I haven't really kept up. And what the industry had used is they used, for the high strength, they'd use what's called galvanized improved plow steel, but its corrosion resistance was not so great. But it was adequate for most applications. And then if you went to high corrosion resistant materials like an Inconel or Incoloy, it's crazy expensive and not quite as strong as the galvanized improved plow steel. So they were looking for something that didn't exist, a combination of sorts. And as I was sitting there, I was like, you know, I think I know how we could do this. So I proceeded to lay out my idea to them, and they were interested. And I kind of thought through it. I was like, well, I think we could actually run a trial in about 3 or 4 weeks. And they were, again, interested, and they were all for that. And they asked if they could have an engineer come out and watch it. Sure, no problem. So I go back to the factory, we order the materials, I sit down with the development engineer, and AFL had some great engineers, still does, and they got what I was trying to accomplish very quickly and set it all up. And the day came, the engineer showed up, walk him out to the production floor, we meet with the staff that's coordinating the project, and they said they still needed 45 minutes to an hour to get this set up and before we hit the go button. Told the engineer, said, hey, let's go get a cup of coffee and sit down and chat for a little bit. I said, okay. So we get our cup of coffee, get back to the office, and we sit down. I turned to him and I said, you know, it's kind of an interesting idea. So I think AFL is going to pursue a patent on it, and of course we'll give your company access to it since it was a collaborative effort of sorts. And he said, don't bother, because they've already filed a patent. Like, okay, how does that work since you didn't invent it? I told him, I said, you know, you didn't come up with that. That was all on AFL, right? And he goes, oh, it is what it is. That's what we did. Oh, I kind of wanted to throw him out right then and there and stop the project straight away, but I bit my tongue, that wasn't a blunder. So we did the project. I told the guy, I said, hey, I want to talk to your patent attorney. And he said, sure, no problem. So a few weeks later, I talked to his patent attorney, and I said, explain the situation. He goes, that's just the way it is. That's what we do, you know. And if you want to protect your ideas, keep your mouth shut in meetings. Don't collaborate, don't interact. Just collect the information, go back to your office, file your own patents, then come back to us and share with us what you've got. And that way you're protected. Not a great way of having a relationship with a customer. Not the relationship I had up to that point with that customer, but they clearly had changed. It's kind of sad. So what was my blunder in all that? Well, you know, I trusted the big company to do the right thing and be ethical about it. The NDA that we had did not actually cover that type of IP creation. In one level, it wouldn't have mattered what the NDA said, because if you're dealing with a company who's unethical, they're going to do what they want. They were the 800-pound gorilla, and they were going to do what they want no matter what. But what I did do going forward after that incident is I was much more restrained in throwing out ideas, especially ones that I thought were novel and potentially patentable. So that would be my caution to you, is as you talk to customers and you have ideas, just be cognizant of the IP, the intellectual property, the patent rights, and so forth. And, you know, of course, the other challenge is, would we have ever sued that company for patent infringement, or for stealing the ideas? No, that was never going to happen. So just caution, be careful with sharing IP. On a side note, I did check a couple of weeks ago out of curiosity to see if they pursued the patent, and they actually did, and they had 2 patents awarded in 2016. So yeah, they're invalid in my opinion, but good for them. They're the 800-pound gorilla, and they squashed everybody else. So it's the way it goes. Hope you learned something from this. By the way, I'm at Kite Hill. I'm having what's the name of this again? Hazy. Have your own hazy. It's a good beer. It's Kite Hill in Clemson, South Carolina. And if you're ever in town, I suggest stopping by. By the way, I'm not getting compensated for this. I just like a good beer on a hot afternoon. Anyway, take care. And if you have any comments, put them in the thread below, and I may or may not respond to them, because I'm retired and I don't care. So take care. Bye.